I think one of the most important steps is reframing your self-care and time for yourself as a requirement. It is not a luxury. You're not indulging yourself by allowing yourself to sit and watch a show at the end of the night sometimes, or to schedule a block in your day that's yoga or a workout or taking a walk. Those aren't a luxury. Those are things that you need to be able to do. It's a requirement of living a healthy lifestyle. The only way that we can take care of other people and take care of your business is if you take care of yourself. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unchoreographed podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jenna Lower. I am a physical therapist, dance medicine specialist, and the owner of On Point Wellness and Rehab. And today we are going to have a really informal podcast episode. I actually wasn't even planning on recording this one today. I was going to kind of just skip a week or two because my life has just been so crazy busy, and I ended up having a patient cancel for tonight, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to record a podcast episode on this exact topic because it's been at the front of my mind right now. This idea of self-care and trying to figure out a way to balance business and life and all the tasks that are involved with both of those things. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity to just jump on here and record a quick little snippet of a podcast for you guys, because I know so many of you are probably going through something really, really similar. A while back when I started this podcast, I had reached out and asked on Instagram what you guys wanted to hear from me and some topics that you thought would be interesting to hear about. And surprisingly, one of the biggest responses that I got was from my dance medicine professionals, physical therapists, nutritionists, that side of things, more so than the dancers themselves. And what you guys wanted to know was a little bit more about the ins and outs of the business side of things, building a business, what it takes, how I did it, all these things. So consider this the first episode that is geared towards that population. And we are going to be talking a little bit about burnout and self-care because, again, it's really just at the front of my mind right now. So if you guys don't already know me, if you're not familiar with who I am and my story, I recently just had a baby. So she is wonderful and she's 8 months old. We are still going through the I'm not sleeping phase right now. So as you can imagine, I am super exhausted all the time, but not complaining. She is an absolute angel. Love her to death. She's wonderful. But yeah, it's tiring. It's really, really tiring. And when I had my son, he's 5. It was a difficult transition because I was at the point where I actually came back from maternity leave, and that's when I went all in on my business. It was kind of a crazy thing that I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to go back to my job. I'm just going to go all in. Definitely a risky thing to do, coming back from maternity leave with a new baby, like not knowing, am I going to have enough money to do this? Am I going to be busy enough? But it all worked out, and my business has been consistently growing since then. And I truly did sort of put off having a second baby because I was caught in this place of not knowing what I wanted professionally out of my life and if I had capacity to do both things anymore. I love, my business is like my third baby, really. But it's hard. It's a lot of work. And so I wasn't sure. I was sort of caught with like, what are my professional goals? What are my personal goals? And I didn't really know what to do. So obviously made the decision to have a baby, and definitely was the right decision for sure. Obviously don't regret it at all. But all that to say is it hasn't gotten any easier. In fact, it's become infinitely more challenging to now have to split my time between my 5-year-old, an 8-month-old, and then this business. And also find time for things like keeping my marriage in a good place. And of course, myself. What am I going to do for myself? It's a lot, right? And I know it's not just me. I know a lot of you guys out there are going through something really, really similar. And even if you don't own a business or you're not a parent yet, it is still a really challenging balance to figure out, how do I meet all my professional goals, but still create a life that I love to live and that's really, really well balanced. For me, part of the reason that I chose to start my own business, I knew that this was going to be something that I was going to do from the time that I was in PT school. It's always been my dream. But I knew, that I couldn't build the life I wanted if I was working for somebody else. So my goal has always been to sort of create this amazing work-life balance that it never really felt like I had to go to work. I never had the Sunday scaries. My mantra for myself is to live a life without Mondays. I will coin that one day because I truly, I truly believe it. And it's really important to me to live that way. And I can for sure say that having this business has allowed me to live that way. I truly love coming to work every single day. And when I'm away from it for a while, I really, really miss it. But in having this growing family, it has been infinitely more challenging to make that a daily thing, right? I feel super guilty when I'm leaving my kids to come to work. And I honestly feel super guilty for how much I love my job sometimes because it does pull me away from them. But on the other side of things, I of course know that I'm doing this for them, and I know that it's creating what they're seeing in me doing this is going to be worth it someday, that they are able to see their mom build this, amazing business and go after her dreams, because this is exactly what I'm going to want them to do as well. So, again, it's just, there's a lot of back and forth there. But I think one of the biggest challenges in making sure that I'm still maintaining that life without Mondays is being able to find time for myself. Obviously, anytime you have a baby, you lose a whole lot of time for yourself. And anytime you're a business owner, it's really hard to have that balance of finding time for yourself. And so, I'll be honest, this past probably, 8 months, right? Since I've had the baby, this past 8 months, I have really, really neglected my self-care. I think, when I was on maternity leave, it was a bit easier. I did pretty good at still working out, and I was still able to read a little bit because I love to read and meditate, and I would find some time for yoga and do all the things that I know have worked for me in the past. But as I've gone back to work, finding time for those things has become near impossible. So I just went back to working out. Yesterday was the first day. I'm super, super sore today, but it was the first day I went back to working out since I started back to work, which I came back in mid-October, and now it is the end of February. And I did not do, I don't think, one workout since then. It's also been really cold, so I haven't been out going for my walks. So when I say I have not been getting any physical exercise, I mean I have not been getting any physical exercise. I've been super sedentary. I've been working a lot, trying to build up my business. And I've just, been sitting, not moving. And I'll tell you, my body and my mind feel it big time. And again, I know that a lot of you are out there going through something really, really similar. It may not be the exact same struggle that I have, but I know you're struggling with self-care. I know you're struggling trying to find the time to balance your job and yourself and maybe building a business or whatever else it is for you. And I know that because I posted a story on Instagram that I was going back to working out and that I had been neglecting myself. And the response that I got from it, from other dance medicine PTs and other business owners and healthcare professionals, was probably one of the biggest responses that I've ever gotten on anything that I've posted. Far more than anything that I've posted that's educational for dancers or something like that. So I know that a lot of you out there are struggling with this, which is exactly why I figured this is a podcast episode in itself. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the hard truths about owning a business or just being a working professional and trying to find this balance of self-care. I think one of the biggest struggles and constant struggles that we have are that we are constantly giving ourselves to everybody else. When I walk in through those clinic doors, I am giving my patients 110% every single time. Again, it's why I work in this capacity in this clinic, so that I can give 110% to every single patient that walks through the door. But the reality is that sometimes that leaves me feeling like I'm running on empty. And I know if you guys are out there, other, dance PTs, if you are working in a cash-based setting, you're probably used to doing the same. You're giving so much to your patients, but maybe not taking the time for yourself. And if you're in the insurance model, I know you're burnt out because I did it, and you're seeing, 10 plus patients in a day. And there is no time to take. I mean, you are absolutely running on empty when you're doing that. The end of the day, you're pretty much just crashing on the couch. So it's really hard either way, whatever system you're stuck in, right? Or not stuck in, but that you're grinding away in. I think we tend to feel really guilty for taking time off. We feel guilty for maybe not answering a patient email late at night when they reached out. I know I do. I struggle with it. Like, I want to be available 24/7 to my patients when in reality, I think they understand if I don't respond back to them at 11 or 12 at night, or even the next morning. You know, I think most people 24 hours is pretty acceptable, but I put that standard on myself of like, I have got to get back to this person the second that they email me, which means that sometimes I'm emailing at ridiculous times of the day and I'm just working 24/7 if I'm not careful and I don't set really good boundaries, right? You know, when you own a business, I think the other thing that we get stuck in is that, especially when you're working by yourself, you're wearing all the hats, right? It's like, well, if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. So I have to do it. There's not enough hours in the day. So maybe it is me doing things at 10 o'clock at night. And while I do believe that that is kind of necessary in the beginning, you know, you do kind of have to grind a little bit to have a successful business. At a certain point, something's got to give, right? I think when you're building, okay, fine, for periods of time, yes, we work really hard and we might be working outside of our normal hours. But at a certain point, you got to make the switch. You've got to set some boundaries. You have to get yourself into a workflow that is really efficient, but takes into consideration your own time and the energy that you're putting into things. So it's really important that we find a way to set those boundaries. Again, like for me, I know what I've done is I've been focusing so much on working that instead of making time for things like movement, exercise, eating, you know, I'm still pumping and for the baby, and I forgot to pump the other day, which is like a huge no-no, right? I think I went like 5 or 6 hours without pumping because I was so into what I was doing for work that I didn't even think that I needed to stop to do that. I've missed meals. You know, you're pushing, you're tired, you're exhausted, right? Like I'm exhausted from not sleeping. And so I'm not taking naps, even though right now it would be totally acceptable for me to do that. I'm just working all the time. And it's kind of hit the breaking point where I'm like, okay, this is starting to get really unhealthy now. I can still grow my business and not have to do all of those things. So again, I know a lot of you guys out there, even if you're not in the exact same situation, you are struggling with the same things. You're skipping workouts, you're skipping lunch, you're emailing at all hours of the day. So we need to get a better grip on this. We need to get a better handle on how can we find ways to insert self-care and boundaries into our day-to-day, right? And I don't have all the answers because obviously like I'm having this conversation with you because I'm struggling with it myself. But I do know that there's some things that have worked really, really well for me in the past, and we can kind of use that, or I can at least use that as a guideline for myself. And so I thought, well, let me kind of share some of that with you guys, what's worked for me in the past, to see if I can maybe help you. I know a lot of you guys out there are young professionals. You're just starting your career. You're just starting your businesses. I've been doing this now for 8 years in my own business and 13, almost 14 years as a PT. So I've been a PT for a while. I've been in business for a while. So I have at least, well, I struggle with it. I have definitely figured out some things that work better than others. And so I for sure want to share those with you. I think one of the most important steps to being able to do that is reframing your self-care and time for yourself as a requirement. It is not a luxury. You're not indulging yourself by allowing yourself to sit and watch a show at the end of the night sometimes, or to schedule a block in your day that's yoga or a workout or taking a walk. Those aren't a luxury. Those are things that you need to be able to do. It's a requirement of living a healthy lifestyle, right? So the only way that we can take care of other people and take care of your business is if you take care of yourself. That is for sure a cold, hard truth, right? We know those things are necessary. We just need to listen to them, right? So, sort of what I've done is I've decided I am going to give myself, I'm going to do a little 30-day challenge. And what I'm going to do is I am going to give myself 10 minutes of movement every single day. No matter what, no excuses, 10 minutes of movement. That might look different every single day. It could be maybe some yoga. Maybe I've got the baby with me, so it's just like some stretching while she's laying on the floor next to me. Maybe I'm watching a YouTube video and doing some Pilates in the house. Maybe I'm giving the baby to my husband and going downstairs in the garage and doing a workout. Maybe I'm going to skip doing a patient note. It'll be there when I'm done, and do a workout at the clinic instead. So no matter what, 10 minutes, I'm giving myself 10 minutes a day of movement, minimum. The other thing I'm going to do is 3 times a week, I am bringing back my workouts, 30-minute workouts, minimum 3 times a week, no excuses. That used to be my normal, and it certainly has not been lately. So they are getting scheduled into my schedule. My patient, I put it right onto I use Jane for my EMR, and I'm going to schedule them directly into my schedule. That way, I won't accidentally fill the spot with a patient, or another patient won't take it because I've got online scheduling. So it's going to show that it's blocked off. When I know for me, when I physically block it off in my schedule, I am very likely I am not going to give that away as a patient spot because I see, oh no, I blocked this off for a reason. So I physically put the reason that you're blocking that off in there. Whatever scheduling system or paper planner you use, write it down what it's for. It's going to be for 30 minutes of movement, 3 times a week. The other thing is I'm going to pull back in some mindfulness. We know journaling works. We know gratitude works, a gratitude diary. We know all these things, right? Like this is nothing that I'm saying to you is groundbreaking. It's just things that you have to be really consistent with, and you have to maybe put a little bit of effort into when we fall off the wagon on them. And again, these are the things that I know have worked for me in the past. So I'm just telling myself that for 30 days, no matter what, no excuses, I'm doing them. So I'm giving myself, I'm gonna pick a different mindfulness practice every week. So it's the same thing for the whole week. So it's less on my plate of like things that I have to remember. So maybe one week it's going to be deep breathing for 5 minutes a day. Maybe another week it's going to be doing some meditation, but I'll keep it consistent for the whole week. But I'm going to be trying to get in at least 5 minutes of mindfulness every single day. And then the last thing is I am going to set a different business boundary every week. Now, again, I already said like one of my big problems is I love to email at all hours of the day. So I'm going to be like, that'll be one of the things is like no emailing after 8 o'clock at night for the week. Hopefully it will bleed over into the other weeks as well, but I'm going to start with 1 week at a time, right? Small, consistent steps. So I'm giving myself 1 week at a time for each boundary. Things like putting my cell phone down so I'm not scrolling so much anymore because I know that I used to be really good with it, and slowly it's just crept back into my life, and it is so unproductive. So yeah, this is just little, again, nothing groundbreaking, but telling myself that no matter what, no excuses, we are going to be consistent with it because that is what wins every single time. So why am I telling you this? It's because I want to invite you to do it with me. I want to invite you guys, if you are dance medicine PTs or healthcare professionals, if you are a business owner, I want to invite you to come be a part of this 30-day self-care challenge with me. I'm calling it the 30-day self-care reset challenge, however you want to look at it. But for 30 days, I'm going to send you guys an email every single week, and I want to take you along with me, and we're going to do it together because Lord knows I need an accountability partner, and I'm sure you do too. So let's create a community of us doing this all together. Let's help hold each other accountable so that we can be really, really successful at it. So every week I'm going to email you guys, and we're going to be setting our goal of what is our 10 minutes of movement going to be a day? What is our 30-minute workout for the week going to be? What is our mindfulness? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to kind of give you guys like, hey, here's a workout idea. Here's a mindfulness habit we're going to focus on for the week. And here's your business boundary you're going to focus on for the week. So it's really easy on your part. I've kind of laid it all out of what I'm going to do for myself, and you guys just come do it with me, and let's all do it together, and let's hold each other accountable. We'll jump on it. I created a Facebook group for it already. So if you guys want to join, you'll be able to hop into the Facebook group. We'll be keeping each other accountable, posting in there daily, how it's going, what we're doing that's working for us. But let's just all take this next 30 days and give ourselves the reset that I know we all so desperately need. So if you guys want to join in, I'm going to put the link for the sign up for the reset down in the show notes or in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to put everything down below so you can go there, say that you want to sign up for it. The challenge is going to start March 2nd. I will leave it open through the 30 days. So if you happen to listen to this afterwards and you missed the first week or 2 weeks, no big deal. Jump on board. Even if it's just for 2 weeks or 1 week, it's better than nothing. Let's just get the ball rolling, and then come into that Facebook group, because that's where we're going to be holding ourselves accountable. We probably will also do maybe a Zoom call at the end just to like connect and wrap up. Again, if there's one thing that I've learned in this as a business owner, it's that connection is so, so important. Owning a business can feel like a really lonely thing at times. And it feels like sometimes nobody understands what you're going through, especially if none of your friends are business owners or they're not in the same stage of life that you're at. It can feel extremely isolating and lonely. And I want to be that person for you guys that helps you realize that it doesn't have to be so lonely. I want to create this community where we can be there for each other. We can hold each other accountable when we need it, but also turn to each other for suggestions and a little bit of, boosting morale when you're struggling with things. I think that's what we all need. And so I want to be the jumping off point for you guys for that. So let's create this community. Let's do this together. Join me in the comments. If you have any questions about it, if you have any comments on this, write them down there. Let's start this on March 2nd. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited about how the next 30 days is going to go. Even if you guys don't want to join in on the challenge, the biggest thing that I want to stress to you is just finding, use that as an outline, find some things, some boundaries that work for you, and just, even if it's one thing that you pick, and be really, really consistent with it. Set the time aside and be super consistent, because within 30 days, you're probably going to notice a huge change. So we all need that little reset now and then, and this is what the next 30 days are going to be for us. So I hope you guys will join me. As always, if you love the Own Choreograph podcast, please be sure to leave me a review. It really helps me reach more of you guys out there. Leave me a review. I love to connect with you guys. So leave me comments, whatever it is, ask questions. But yeah, let's connect. Let's create more community. And I can't wait to see you guys next week on Unchoreographed. Have a good one.